Hello guys, Spawn Guy here, and in today's Battlecats video, I am ranking floating enemies from strongest to weakest. But before I get into it, I just wanted to say there are a lot of floating enemies, so I am leaving out some of the event exclusive units just to speed things along. So we still have over 40 units to go through, but like the snowball and the one winner stage, stuff like that isn't going to be in the list. Just traditional floating units. So let's get right into it. Starting things off, we have I Am Face, who, if you are early game, could be a little difficult, but once you get a strong anti-floating, anti-alien Uber, he's pretty manageable to deal with. So I'll put him in easy. We have the alien Moth now, who kind of falls into the same category, and he just has weaker. The Moth just has weaker stats, and when you kill her, she drops a ton of cash. So I think she goes in easy as well. We have Brawlo. Now, these units, one of them is not that hard to deal with. The only problem is they never come by themselves. They are always with dozens of other ones, and it's when you pair all of them together that they are very destructive and could absolutely disintegrate your front lines. So yeah, by themselves, if it's one that spawns every 30 seconds, that might not be threatening, but it's when 100 of them spawn at once. So they'll go in strong just because they usually come in groups. By themselves, they're super weak, but 99% of the times, they're not by themselves. Next, we have Calamari, who weakens units from long range, but isn't too much of a threat. So I'm going to place her in easy. She doesn't have a lot of health or damage. She just weakens units. So if you do struggle to fight her, though, make sure to bring in some immune to weaken units that could deal some damage to her and eliminate her and prevent your units from being weakened. Next, we have Alien Bun Bun, who, among all the Bun Buns, is in the middle of the pack. They're all pretty similar, honestly. Is decently strong. If you're in the beginning of the game, then you might have a little trouble against them. But once you beat your first Bun Bun, you'll learn how to fight them and you'll do a lot better. Because you'll have probably a few anti-floating units that will be able to disintegrate them. So easy or moderate, depends where you are. Next, we have Will Bun Bun, who usually comes in groups, but isn't too big of a deal or a threat. So I'll put him in easy. He's a fun unit. I like him personally. Next, we have Starred Sunfish Jones, who has a lot of health, has a lot of range, some decent damage. So stat-wise, pretty strong. But once you get treasures and you destroy the front line, then it's a lot easier to take care of. I'm going to place him in moderate. He has good stats, and for a backliner, he is decently strong, but there are definitely stronger units in the game than him. Moving on, we have the Cat God. Now, I always confuse the three a little bit. They all blend in a bit, but they all seem to be really tanky, and you could cheese any of them with the right strategy. So I'm going to place them in moderate. They are pretty difficult when you are fighting them for the first time because you don't know what to expect. But there are plenty of guides out there. I have them on my channel too that you can check out. But there are a lot of guides out there for it, and all of them could be cheesed. You destroy the barrier, you bring in units that could survive shots, and you just chip away or cheese it. All right, we have the Relic Moth. Now, the relics are definitely the strongest trait when you think about it because they can curse your units, they have huge stats, and they always come in groups, don't give you much time to get stuff ready, and they don't drop a ton of money. So the relics are definitely difficult. This Moth right here will go in the strong. Now, the relic face is very powerful. Just almost it's the Advent boss strength. So I'll put him in very strong, the curse especially, and just does a ton of damage. Next, we have Shy Boy, who is often found in early and mid game, and unless if they're buffed and come in large groups, they aren't usually threatening. If you see one or two, it's usually a good thing because it'll max your rich cat out. So I'll place it in easy, but depending on the magnifications and how many come out in early to mid game, it could be varying difficulty. Next, I forget the name of this unit, but I absolutely hate it. Just whips his tongue around, super annoying, and pretty strong. So I'm gonna put him in hard, strong, good unit, and they usually come in large groups. So when they come in large groups, they are a force to be reckoned with. So I will put them at the very top end of strong because I know what they can do. Alright, next we have the Zombie Bro, who is pretty similar to its normal counterpart, except this one dies and can go straight back to your base over and over again if you don't take care of it. So, as Zombie implies, it revives and, it could block your units off, kill your front lines, and creep its way to your base. So, I'm going to say that it is stronger than its normal counterpart just because it could revive. Next, we have, let's see. I'm honestly not sure if this is an event unit or not. I'm not sure if I missed it or if it is a legitimate unit. But just so I don't give a bad ranking for it, I am not too familiar with this unit. I will not rank it. Don't want to misinform the viewers. Alright, next we have the Relic Sunfish Jones, who, with Relic, you just slap on stats and curse, and they're just stronger than the other traits. So, where the normal one was moderate on my ranking, the Relic will be strong. Almost all the relics are stronger than the non-relic counterparts. It's just because they're found in endgame, and it's how they keep the difficulty going. Next, we have all the Cyclones, who, they do a lot of damage when you're in early game. You might be afraid of them, very afraid of them, but once you could beat Bun Bun, the Cyclones are, they're next on the list because most of them are floating as well. And if you bring in a controller or two, especially Ubers, Sanzo, you have a lot of good units to bring in. So I'm going to put all of them in moderate. They're strong, but players don't really struggle on them. That might be a different story. Next, we have the Face, who will go in easy. He's Empire of Cats' first moon boss. You'll find him in the first moon of the game. And sorry, I muted the mic. Most people don't struggle on him, even in early game, so I'll place him in easy. But if you do struggle on him, I do have a guide for that. Might not be updated, so I might have to make a new one in the future. Let's see. Next, we have Cosmic Cyclone, who is a little stronger than the other ones, but, it might work its way up. It's stronger than the rest of the Cyclones, but not by a ton. Alright, moving on, we have Harry Potter. Oh, actually, that's an event enemy. Bats. Bats are pretty easy. They're meat shields. Doesn't take much to kill them, and they don't do a ton of damage. So I'm going to put it in very easy. I don't know many people who have lost to just bats, but hey, if you've lost to a bat, make sure to comment that down below, because I'd like to hear it. Next, we have Filibuster, who will one-shot everything if he gets a hit, but the problem is, he has 1,000 knockbacks, and every time you knock him back, he has to reset his super long animation, so he goes under very easy. And especially at the time where you'll fight the Filibuster Outbreak, this is not hard. Most people get it first try. The supporting enemies are harder than him, honestly. Alright, next we have the Queen Bee, who combines long range with slow, a ton of health, and a good amount of damage, and could, once it starts hitting your base, it's pretty hard to push it back and win. So, out of the Advent bosses, it probably ranks in the middle, but since it is an Advent boss, I will place it in strong, because it is a strong unit, in my opinion. Moving on, we have the Pigeon, who has shockwaves, but not much else. Weak health, so most of your units will be able to one-shot it, and the damage, it does some, but it'll go in easy. It's just not too strong of a unit, and there isn't too much to worry about there. Alright, moving on, we have Beefcake Cat, who usually comes in 1 or 2, depending on the stage, maybe 3. You'll see him in his true form stage, you'll see him in Heavenly Tower here and there, but he's not too strong. I will place him at the top of easy, because if you bring in the right units, he's not going to do too much. And even when he has supporting units, the stages are still manageable. So when you see him, don't fret. Just remember, bring in some anti-floating units and take care of them. Alright, we have the Bun Buns. I guess I only covered one of them. But all the Bun Buns, except for the Relic and Mecha, all kind of fall into the same category. Sorry, you just muted, I coughed. So all of them kind of fall into the same category, because most of them you could work the same strategies with. So I'm going to put the Bun Buns in the moderate tier, depending on where you are in the game and which units you have, but they are generally manageable. Cly 1. Now, Cly 1, when you're first fighting him, he might be slightly tricky because of his range, and he'll one-shot a lot of your units when you're first fighting him without the treasures. But as soon as you get treasures, and if you, in the very rare occasion you see him outside of the moon, he really isn't much of a threat. So I'm going to place him in easy. He'll go on moderate if you're at the very beginning of the game, but I'm trying to rank majority here for the majority of people. And just bring in some tanky units and some rushers, whatever you might have, and take care of them. Next, we have Mecha Bun. I'm not going to lie, I was stuck on him for over a year. That was one of the main reasons I stopped making videos a while ago, but I eventually got back into making them. I just couldn't progress or pass him, so he is pretty strong. I will place him in the top end of the strong tier, because you can't use certain units against him, and you just can't handle it like a normal Bun. So you have to make some adjustments and move on. I do have a guide on that as well, but it's outdated. I used to do Uber carry, but as of late, I've been doing more specials and rares. So I might have to update that guide too. Unless if you have all of the units I have, it probably won't work. Next, we have the perfect Cyclone. And here, I would recommend you bring in Octopus Cat, because he's one of the only units, if not the only unit, that can get into his blind spot without getting knocked back and killed. So make sure to pair him with Awakened Muhammad Cat, because the weekend will be enough to get Awakened Muhammad Cat in there. But yes, Octopus Cat is a great counter to him. If you don't have Octopus Cat, then you are probably done, because he has a ton of range. And besides that, is pretty similar to any other Cyclone. So he will go in moderate. I will put him over the other Cyclones, just because if you don't have 1 or 2 units, you will probably lose the stage to him, because you won't be able to counter him. Alright. Next, we have the Owl. Now, they usually come in groups, but they drop a lot of money, and they're pretty weak, so I'll put them in easy. Next, we have the Koi Cat, who, it's just, it's a true form boss. Nothing too scary. I'll place him in the easy category. Even in the harder stages, he might be a moderate. Not crazy. Even in the harder stages, he's not much of a threat. Moving on, I'll pair all of them up. All of these, these crazed awakened stage guys, they're pretty difficult, honestly. Compared to the rest of these units, at least. So what you want to do with them, they have a ton of range, so just kind of persevere by tanking, pushing in, and getting any chip damage you can, because they have a lot of range and a lot of damage. So I'll place them in strong, no particular order. Moving on, we have the Relic B. I am stuck on this stage, so that's a sign that it might be strong. But, it's a little different than the other Queen Bee. Definitely stronger. It is a relic. And most relics, as I said many times, are usually stronger, just throwing curse, and they're just annoying, and nobody likes relic units. If you like relic units, you can comment that down below, though. Anyways, relic B will go in the top of the strong category, right up with those big guys right there. Next, we have Ninja Cat, who, it is one of the event units, like the true form stage unit. So I'll place him in easy. Usually not a threat. I'll place him at the top of easy because they could be decently strong, but most players won't struggle on them because they're floating. And that's a good thing about all these units. They're floating, so that means all of these units you could bring in anti-floating Ubers, Sanzo, all those guys, Octopus, and you'll get the same benefit out of them as you will with most of them. Next, we have this Cat Aladdin. Goes in easy. It's another one of those true form units. Moth drops a ton of cash. Honestly, it's a good day when you see a Moth in the first frame of the stage because you know you're going to get a maxed out rich cat. So, easy. In fact, I like them. Even when they're magnified, they're not too strong, so hack away at them. Alright, next we have the other Into the Future moon bosses. So, Awaken Muhammad Cat will go in strong. He is a pretty good unit, but treasures will counter him. Bring in your other anti-floatings. You know what? I'm probably going to bring him into moderate just because at the time when you fight him, you'll be decked out. If you don't fight him with treasures, then you're going to lose because he's going to have millions of health, and it's not going to be a pretty sight if you fight him without treasures. But assuming you have most of all of your treasures up to that point, he's pretty easy. Next, we have Valkyrie, who is in the same boat, but a bit less health and damage, more range, so a bit more unique, different. We'll go moderate as well, but same thing applies. You bring in the proper treasures, and it's a lot easier. I'm telling you, like a lot easier. That goes with all of these units. Treasures applies to every single trait, all of the unit stats. So make sure to get treasures. I cannot say it enough. Alright. And you know what? I'll throw in the Coretta Bears. They'll go in easy. Let's see if I missed anything. I did not miss anything. Alright, if you would like to see the event units get ranked, please make sure to let me know. That will be a separate video if you guys want to see it. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you don't miss another upload. And if you liked this video, disliked some of the rankings, agreed, disagree, whatever the case may be, leave it down in the comments section below. And I will see you in the next one. Spartan Cat signing off. Stay Spartan. See you guys in the next one.